Zionists. Okay, well, what if I told you majority of Jews were Zionists? Like, we were speaking during the break how you don't want to be subject to racism, and that's totally valid. And I don't think you'd like living under a mayor that's like, well, I don't dislike all black people. I only dislike some.
That's not the same thing. That is not the same thing.
That is not the same thing.
I actually don't think that's what. I don't know if that's what. I don't want to.
Don't drag us into that, by the way.
I don't drag you into what?
Don't drag us into your discussion about that it's the same thing as black people. Don't drag us into that.
This is the last word here.
Don't drag us into that.
A conservative panelist compared anti-Zionism to racism against black people. Charles Blow responded with the same 4 words, repeated like a verdict. That is not the same thing. Don't drag us into that. Welcome to the debate, Chase. Today, we are breaking down the democratic socialism debate, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and that shutdown moment. Let's get into it.
Bill Maher says absolutely.
If this is where the Democratic Party is going, where this democratic socialist, this obsession with Israel, with the Jew hating, with they don't believe in capitalism, no prisons. If this is where they're going, my play.
Okay.
And
I like to hear that.
It actually always has been. Every year, I don't make my decision by who was an R or a D. I actually always came to the conclusion that the Democrat was probably better.
Sure.
And voted for them.
Okay.
And Trump can't run again, and he'd be a little too exciting for me anyway. So it's either going to be you or Rubio.
Listen, Maher does not like Mamdani. These are Mamdani's candidates. He doesn't like the positions that these people have taken. We understand that. Anybody who's followed Maher knows that. I think the idea that democratic socialism is some sort of boogeyman that people are running away from in the country, I think people are overplaying that. I don't think that's true. I don't think people, particularly after this particular president, I don't think people are shocked by much. I don't think they're turned off necessarily by much of what somebody has said or done, because we have a model in the presidency that has done horrible, crazy, said awful things, and is still the president of the United States. So I just don't think it is as big a deal as people are making it out to be.
I don't think that was the point. I think the point was, yeah, maybe the socialism's not taking over the country. I don't think we're near there, and anyone who says otherwise is being hysterical. But I think the loudest voices and faces of the Democratic Party are the socialists, it's the AOCs. Mamdani is probably the most spoken about person in the country right now. And if that's the face of the party, it's doing a good favor to the Republicans in the upcoming election.
Do you know how happy New York is right now? Do you know how cool it is to see your mayor? Do you know how cool it is to see your mayor jump in a pool with the kids?
I don't give a damn about the mayor jumping in the pool.
Yeah,
I care about the future of New York. I care about my safety. I care about my children's life.
Homicides are down in New York City.
Yeah.
Rent freezes are happening. Campaign promises are being delivered.
They're punishing capitalism.
You're saying
New York is the city of capitalism with a socialist mayor. He's going to drive everyone to Panama.
No,
he's going to drive everyone to
not.
Puerto Rico.
How
many billionaires are already leaving?
Yeah, I just think that because this happened in your party as well, and actually, if you compared from when another form of extremism, actually,
well, it's on both sides.
MAGA actually happened in your party. So what happened in your party was Barack Obama was elected, the Tea Party started. Everybody was like, there's no way, there's no way. The Tea Party is in power right now because people were actually sick of the status quo. Doesn't matter what the other side labels it. When people feel like they're actually being listened to, which a lot of people actually felt like they were being listened to with Donald Trump, which is why he won a second term. I'm willing to concede that. They don't really feel that right now. And some people actually feel like the traditional and establishment Democrats are not listening to them.
I care about facts, not feelings. And the fact is that Mamdani makes everyone feel good, but what he's doing is not good.
He's delivering on his campaign promises.
I know, and his campaign was horrendous. I agree with you.
But he's not
delivering on socialism.
Ashley's point is that there's an anti-establishment wave, and Mamdani, AOC, others are riding it.
And Donald Trump
is that not what's happening?
I don't think it's that harmless. I think the reality is.
Let's start with the Bill Maher premise that democratic socialism and candidates like Zohran Mamdani will hurt Democrats. Charles Blow pushed back correctly. After a president who said horrifying things, normalized chaos, and still got reelected with 77 million votes, the argument that voters will flee a progressive mayor delivering rent freezes and campaign promises needs evidence. Mamdani is rising precisely because he is doing what politicians rarely do, making tangible commitments and following through. Voters are separating the personal from the political and gravitating toward people who make their lives materially better. That is democracy functioning as intended. The The socialism panic collapses under basic scrutiny. New York City has been governed by progressives for years and remains the financial capital of the world. The billionaires are leaving narrative gets recycled every election cycle and never materializes. Homicides are down. Rent freezes are in place. Calling it a socialist experiment heading toward collapse is not analysis. It is a talking point.
But wait, Mark,
Hold on,
have
wait,
you
let me
actually
finish, let me
seen
finish.
those people chant death to
Did you see
America?
Yeah, at
Mamdani's
Columbia
wife
University,
like
yeah.
people
Yeah,
getting
I did.
kidnapped and
And she
raped
was an
on October
organizer of it.
7th?
It's
The
pretty
mayor's
awful.
wife is a
But
jihadist.
to your
Let's be honest
question
with
about the
ourselves.
Hold on,
midterms,
guys. Let me let
Yeah,
Mark
yeah,
finish
yeah.
his
No,
thought.
when you
question about
elect
the
people
midterms.
raping and
Emily,
murdering,
Emily,
that
please
is
stop.
terrorism.
Emily,
So I'm
stop
And when
very
you
sorry.
elect a
think
president that
this is
sexually
going
assaults
to
women,
be-
Emily,
No, then
that's
he's out of
enabled.
jail.
Emily and
So
Ashley,
you're wrong.
please stop for a second.
I be a bigger albatross for Democrats after the midterms, because I think these people will likely get elected and they're going to be boon as fundraiser for Republicans. They're going to be a terrible problem for Jeffries. But midterms are usually about the party in power.
But New
And so
Yorkers
I don't
feel
think it's
good.
have as
That's
much
all
of
that
an impact
matters.
about the politics this
All
November.
right.
New Yorkers
We're
are
going to take a
American.
quick break
That's
and we'll be
our
right
A Jewish state, Israel is a Jewish state. That's in the charter. That's the way it is now. Do you support that?
I've said time and again that I support the state of Israel as a state with equal rights. I believe that any state that
But as a
preferences...
Jewish state is the question.
I think any state that privileges one religion over the other is one that I can't tell you I support, whether it be Israel or Saudi Arabia or anywhere else. And a lot of that comes back to a fundamental belief that we should all be considered equal no matter what our faith is.
under the banner of socialism actually is a misnomer. I think the socialism policies actually are the economic policies. I also think that there are people that have great issues with our alliance to Israel. Am I one of those people? I do think Israel is our ally. Do I like the current government of Israel? No. Do I like the current government of the United States? No. I'm still allowed to do that because we live in a democracy and we're able to have freedom of speech. Does that mean I should be persecuted for that? No. Could I be persecuted for that? Potentially. And is that how some people are seeing what is happening to Palestinians? So I think Mamdani's answer, in my opinion, is where I'm aligned. I think that people should be able to express their religion, express their sexuality, express their race, and express their ideologies free, whether it's a
That's what they can
Muslim,
do in Israel,
So
not
then
other
on both-
countries.
not
in the region.
Palestinians.
The
Not
Palestinians
Palestinians.
are Supreme Court judges in Israel. Palestinians have rights
Not
to
at the
vote
West
in the
Bank.
election.
Not
well,
in the
West Bank doesn't
occupation.
want to be part of Israel. Neither does Gaza. So if they were
So-
part of Israel, then they can
Not
have the same
Palestinians
rights
that
as
live in
Israelis.
Israel.
Here's
They
what I want to
can't-
ask you,
They
Charles. I
absolutely
mean,
can.
are Republicans...
When the conversation shifted to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Ashley's defense of Mamdani was clear. His objection is to any state. He cited Israel and Saudi Arabia together. That privileges one religion over others. That is a coherent secularist position consistently applied. It is not anti-Semitism. You can disagree with it, but the argument deserves engagement, not mischaracterization. The moderator raised the point the conservative panelists could not answer. Randy Fine, endorsed by Donald Trump, said on record that Palestinian is just another word for demon. That statement is still on his social media. When asked directly if they had condemned it the way they were condemning progressive candidates, the conservative panelists had no ready answer. A belated condemnation was eventually extracted. The asymmetry was visible. Outrage activates loudly when the target is on the left. It produces silence when the target is an ally. Then Emily Austin made the comparison that produced the most important exchange of the segment. She argued that saying you dislike Zionists but not Jews is comparable to saying you do not dislike all black people, only some. Charles Blow's response was immediate and exact. That is not the same thing. Do not drag us into that. Zionism is an ideology, a political position about the governance of a state. Opposition to an ideology is categorically different from opposition to an ethnic group. You can oppose white nationalism without hating white people. You can oppose Zionism without hating Jewish people. The conflation is not an honest mistake. It is a rhetorical move designed to make any criticism of a government's policies impossible by labeling it bigotry. And invoking black people as the analogy, without any awareness of what that comparison does, gave the people being invoked every right to say no. Blow closed with the accountability argument that tied everything together. The standard has to apply consistently. Trump tweeted images depicting the Obamas as apes. A White House guest called Michelle Obama a man. He discriminated against black tenants and documented 1970s housing cases. He called for the execution of 5 innocent black and Latino teenagers. Documented facts, not allegations. The same people demanding the highest possible standard from progressive candidates have spent years minimizing all of it. That inconsistency is not a debating point. It is the entire story.
Republicans making a mistake to assume that that sentiment that we just heard from Mamdani is something that is only reserved for far left liberals. Because when I look at the polling and I see young, conservatives, their views on Israel have shifted sharply negative over the last couple of years.
And I think I'm looking at the same polls that you're looking at, which is why I'm always confused when people pick out people on the left who are running for office and say that they have said something that was offensive, and they say that they, as you have said before, that that they are horrible people and you condemn them, right? So, but when Randy Fine in Florida was running for office, who Donald Trump actually endorsed, and he said that Palestinian is just another word for demon, which is still up on his Twitter page, right? I looked to see if either of you had ever condemned him for that, and I might have missed it. My fault. I will give you the opportunity right now to condemn that the same way that you are condemning the other people.
There you go, condemned. I think we could agree.
I appreciate
I think we could agree two things are wrong.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
I think it's the bare minimum to be like, hey, Palestinians are human too.
I appreciate that so much.
But I don't appreciate when my mayor is like, oh, I don't dislike Jews. I only dislike Zionists. Okay, well, what if I told you majority of Jews were Zionists? Like, we were speaking during the break how you don't want to be subject to racism, and that's totally valid. And I don't think you'd like living under a mayor that's like, well, I don't dislike all black people. I only dislike some.
That's not the same thing. That is not the same thing.
Most Jews
that is
are
not the same thing.
I actually don't think that's what. I don't know if that's what. I don't want to.
Don't drag us into that, by the way.
I don't drag you into what?
Don't drag us into your discussion about that it's the same thing as black people. Don't drag us into that.
This is the last word here.
Don't drag us.
Here's what should stay with you. The selective outrage on display in this panel is not a bug. It is the operating system. Zohran Mamdani says he cannot support any state that privileges one religion over others, and that becomes proof of Jew hatred. Donald Trump's guest calls Michelle Obama a man at a White House event, and the same voices say nothing. Randy Fine calls Palestinians demons and gets a Trump endorsement. The comparison only runs in one direction. The accountability only applies to one side. And when that asymmetry gets challenged directly, when someone points to the actual documented record of the person being defended, the response is deflection, whataboutism, or a belated condemnation that arrived only because the question was asked on camera. Charles Blow said it, and he was right. When you try to use black people as rhetorical props to make a political argument about an entirely different community, the people you are invoking get to say no. They get to say that is not the same thing. They get to refuse to have their history and their pain weaponized for a comparison that does not hold up and was not made in good faith. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the conflation of anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism is intellectually honest or politically motivated? And what do you make of the double standard and how progressive and conservative politicians get scrutinized on this issue? I want to hear where you stand. Subscribe to the debate, Chaz. We will keep calling out the asymmetry every time it shows up.